Greetings, initiates. Jedediah Thomas, the Mind Master here. Today, I wanted to talk about a pretty controversial and bizarre topic, all about demons. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more content on the mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, traumas, limiting beliefs, motivation, and now the spiritual world as well. So, demons are one of those um, kind of taboo topics. And of course, science denies them outright. And some religions wholeheartedly acknowledge the existence of them. And some religions, like, say they acknowledge them, but in practice, they kind of don't and they shy away from it. And it's treated as like this made up imaginary thing. And I have to say, up until, a month or two ago, I didn't discount the possibility that they exist, but I was trying to find solutions to problems without acknowledging them, if that makes sense. I was trying to rule out every other possibility for what things could be before actually, acknowledging their existence, because I'm trying to be at least somewhat scientific about it, despite the things that I'm doing and talking about are completely off the wall in a very big way. So basically, one of the two kind of major texts that I studied to learn about the mind, which of course itself is kind of shunned by society, is Dianetics, actually, the introductory Scientologist text. And I learned a lot from it. There's a lot of things that I do agree with, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with in there. And one of the things that I had always agreed with was that there is no such thing as demons. Like, all of these spiritual issues or so-called spiritual issues are direct manifestations of the mind, right? And basically, like, whatever quote unquote demons you have possession come down to basically psychosomatic manifestations of deeper issues. And that was like kind of my way of operating for, more or less the last year. And that was like throughout, the time I was creating all of these new methodologies that were like incredibly powerful and all of this stuff. However, over the last couple of months, I've been delving into a lot more of the spiritual side of things, about how the universe actually works and not really how we're told it works. And while I have to say that there are a lot of problems that can manifest psychologically that appear to be demonic in nature, I have to acknowledge that there actually are demons, right? There are spiritual entities, right? They don't have a physical body. They are sentient. They are self-aware. They are aware of us, right? They are malevolent. They exist for a certain purpose, right? They all, it's all around evil somehow, but they all have their own version of what that evil entails, and how they try and screw up your life. And they are actually able to be removed, ironically, quite easily, like you wouldn't think so. But well, I'll get into that in a second. But the point is that not only do I have to acknowledge the existence of them, but I would say that the possibility exists that a lot of issues people run into are actually potentially demonic in nature. Now, what I'm not saying here, I'm not saying that no psychological issues exist and there's like demons everywhere, but I don't want to fall into the other camp, which is what everyone else falls into, even, mainstream science and psychology and whatnot, of assuming that demons don't exist at all and it's entirely psychological. And that's just absolutely not true. So the main kind of point of contention between religion and science is religion will say, oh my gosh, we think it's demons. And then science comes along and says, oh, well, they have mental health issues. It's probably not demons, right? Or demons don't exist because they have mental health issues. And then religion backs down, right? That's kind of like the the interplay between the two. And it's like religion is kind of afraid to stand up for the reality of the situation, and they kind of defer to science. And the reality is that yes, you can have mental health issues, but mental health issues do not act as some kind of protective talisman or protective spell against demonic possession. So yes, you can have mental health issues, but you can also have demons, right? They're not mutually exclusive. It's not that you have one or the other. It's like you might have both, but you know, um it's one of those things you don't want to outright assume it's a demon, but you would be pretty not very bright to not acknowledge the existence of demons, especially after what I've seen and what I've been able to do with my work. Now, as far as actually identifying demons and like, you know, how do you know that you have demons and all of this stuff, it is really difficult because a lot of the same symptoms that demons manifest also look like traumas, or they look like limiting beliefs, or they look like multiple personalities. They mimic a lot of other problems, and that's where it's very difficult to figure them out. But once you do figure them out, you know where they came from. Like, you know that they exist, right? And that's really critical, because it's not like you're just imagining that they exist. Like, it's like literally I can sit there and talk to the demon that's like there, and we're having a conversation. And now I sound even more crazy, which, you know, at this point, you know, if you watch this far in the video, maybe you don't care, but um let me it will take some time for me to actually come up with a diagnostic to actually understand when people have a demonic possession. And I don't know how common it is. In one of the people I've worked on, I removed 3 demons. And in another person I worked on, I removed 12 demons. So when you have one, you probably have a few, but how often, how much percentage of the population have them, I have no idea. And so basically the way you kind of get there right now, or the way I've been getting there, is just by process of elimination, right? It can't be anything else, right? It's not traumas, it's not beliefs, it's not imprints, right? It's actually sentient, but it's not part of you. So it's not a personality. Therefore, it's, you know, this other entity that attached itself to you. And actually, let me go ahead and pull up this chart here, because I totally forgot to pull that up. But you'll see in front of you here the chart that I'm using to basically see what the problems are. So you'll see basically third down on the left, the structure, it's part of the soul, but technically not part of the soul. So it's a non-structural parasite, and now it's the second problem on the list, right? So just so you can kind of fit everything into kind of a scientific model, more or less, so you at least what kind of problem they are, right? So I'll just leave this up for a second so you can take a look at that. But basically, a demon is a sentient non-structural parasite. It's distinct from imprints in that they're sentient. It's distinct from trauma in that, you know, it's actually an entity. It's not just a traumatic situation that happened. It's actually like a being, like a spiritual being that attaches itself to you. And it's distinct from identities and personalities because it's not part of you, right? Identities and personalities, no matter how deeply ingrained the personality is of a multiple personality, it's still part of you, but a demon is not, right? And it's probably difficult for you to believe that, but you know, whatever. Here we are. Okay. So now that that's you kind of see where that is. Um, as I was saying, I can really only figure it out right now through process of elimination. So I don't have the equivalent of, you know, a Hollywood hold up a religious symbol and, you know, then they start climbing on the ceiling or some crazy stuff like that, or their head spins around, you know, 5 times. But as I fix other problems, it's basically like, you know, are there's some kind of other entity that's attached itself to you, and they'll be like, oh well, yeah, you're right. There is. Okay, here we are, right? So how do you actually get demons? Because like this is like totally, you know, far-fetched, I'm sure it sounds, but there's basically 5 ways that I've seen thus far that you can get demons, right? So the first is basically you've been cursed with black magic, right? Someone has specifically summoned this demon to attach itself to you and your life and your family, right? And that can be passed down through multiple generations. Um, the second one is through being passed down through multiple generations. Some of the demons that I removed are tens of thousands of years old. Like they've been in this someone's family for generations on generations. So these are, not spring chickens that just, hatched. Like these things are old and they've been around for quite a long time. And number 3 is coming into contact with people that have some association with these demons. Either they're possessed themselves or somehow they invite the demon in and it like attaches itself to you for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why it happens, but you can get it from other people. Number 4, you can go to a place that is somehow infested or infected with a demonic entity, and then it can latch onto you just from being there, right? So that has happened. And then the 5th way is by inviting them in, right? Sounds kind of far-fetched that someone would do that, but it happens, especially people that maybe don't believe that demons are real, and then they invite them in, and then they're basically there and wreak havoc and cause chaos. Now, as far as actually getting rid of them and treating them, so what I do is, you could call it exorcism, but it's quite a bit different than what you see on Hollywood. I don't throw water at them and I don't show religious symbols because all of that is nonsense, right? It doesn't work. And not only that, you just piss off the demon and then it starts to hurt the person that it's possessed, right? So not only is your ceremony ineffective, you're actually opening people up to be hurt, right? Not only the person who's possessed, but anyone who's part of that ceremony. It's a very dangerous thing, and this is why people are afraid of demons, and they have all this like taboo kind of hesitation about even talking about them. They are dangerous if you are basically a jerk, right? if you go in somebody's house and you kick their door open and you start shooting up the place, they're going to be kind of ticked off at you. And that's basically how it is with a demon. When you go in there guns a-blazing and you just ignore all semblance of rationality and you just start like acting like it's an object to be removed, it gets really ticked off and it fights back, right? But the way I do it is actually incredibly quick. Like it only takes a few minutes and it doesn't hurt the person, right? It hurts the demon, but that's their problem. But basically, if you know how to work with them, if you realize that they are actually sentient entities, right? You can communicate with them. They're not stupid, right? Okay. Arguably, some of them might be because they make bad choices, but that's a different topic altogether. So are people. So, like the worst thing that a demon could do to you, right? If you're not kicking the door and messing things up, is basically lie to you, right? They are liars. That's what they do. So it's very simple for someone like me who's been in sales for a decade or however long I've been in sales, or 11, 12 years, to ask contradictory questions, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't two things cannot be both true and false at the same time. It's either true or it's false. So in one case they say it's raining, and then another time they say it's not raining. Well, clearly you're lying, so which one's reality, right? And then you kind of suss out the truth from them. So it's almost like doing a sales call on a demon, which sounds totally bizarre. I think that's the most bizarre thing I've ever said in my life. But it's basically discerning the truth about who they are and why they're there and what they're trying to accomplish. And I've actually been able to figure out their names by communicating with them without even hearing it from the people that I'm working on. So that's a whole nother topic. But the point is that when you actually afford them the respect that a creature deserves, whether that's an animal or a person or even a demon, they don't fight back like you see in Hollywood, right? That like they're not happy to leave. They never like out of all of the 15 that I've removed, only 2 have left willingly, and I have no idea why that those 2 left willingly and the other ones did not, right? But usually they don't leave willingly, but at least they have a choice to leave willingly or not, right? Whereas most religious ceremonies don't give them a choice at all. They just start trying to like burn everything down. And I'm like, that's not right, right? You don't do that to people. You wouldn't do that to an animal. So why are you going to do it to, you know, a sentient spiritual entity? There's no difference between them. So anyways, my philosophy and my methodologies are quite different than religion. It's quite different than science, as if you haven't figured out by now. I have my own way of doing things and they work, right? And it works very quickly. Like I said, I can get rid of a demon in 5 minutes, assuming that the person actually wants the demon gone. And that's kind of the real crux of it, is like they actually have to want the demon gone. And if they don't, then it's like, well, too bad. It's going to ruin your life until you decide to get rid of it. So this is like very much your decision. But anyways, I can get rid of them. It doesn't hurt people. It doesn't hurt the clients. It doesn't open myself up to, demonic possession. It doesn't require hours and hours of bull crap religious ceremony. It doesn't require a certain type of water. It doesn't require a certain type of religious symbol. It doesn't require saying some supposed deity's name 1,000 times, and then supposedly the demon's supposed to go out and kick rocks or something like that. None of that works. And let's okay. So I'm comparing it to Hollywood. I actually come from a religion that did practice exorcisms as a segment of Christianity, and I can say categorically that their form of exorcism is the same crap that you see on Hollywood. Maybe less head spinning and less climbing the ceilings, but they don't do it the right way. Like their methodology is flawed, their philosophy is flawed, and they don't know what the heck they're doing. And then that's where you get into all of these like deep like magic rituals where they're like drawing pictures and like all like trying to like come up with all these chants and Latin phrases and nonsense. It's all just crap. It's all just absolute crap. Taken from someone who actually does this on people, and I've done it multiple times, I can say none of that actually works, and you're just going to end up hurting people or yourself. So this is kind of a warning to anyone who does exorcisms. It's a warning to those who get exorcisms done on them by religious quacks. And it's a warning to science that demons are actually real. Yes, there is mental health issues. There is all of this stuff. But just because, someone's wearing a shirt doesn't mean they're not also wearing pants. If that makes sense, right? So what science is saying is that because they're wearing a shirt, they're not wearing any pants. And religion is saying, well, they're wearing pants, so it can't be a shirt. I'm saying, well, you could have both at the same time. Yeah, you could have one or the other, but you might have the whole kit and caboodle. So to keep this video from going super long, and it is already kind of on the long side, just know that demons are real and they can be removed, right? And it's not, you don't have to go through some religious organization and then spend months and months and months of approval and then have it done. I can knock it out in 5 minutes, assuming some things are in place, namely that you actually want it gone. All right, so this has been a video. Once again, I'm Jedediah Thomas, the Mind Master. Be sure to like and subscribe, follow the channel for more content like this. I think this is probably, hopefully, the most bizarre topic I could get into. If not, I'll figure out a more bizarre one and we'll get to it at some future time. All right. Y'all have a good one, and thank you. All right. Bye.